Good morning, Tottenham fans. This is THFC Till I Die's morning roundup of the day before, which happened to be the final day of the transfer window, and which morphed into the strange case of Matt Doherty, which I think we're all a bit surprised at what happened there. The arrival of Pedro Porro at 10 minutes to 11 o'clock. It was officially announced. I mean, I don't know why they kept it to announcing it that late, but anyway. And also the fact that the young prodigy Harvey White has gone out on loan to Derby County. We'll start with Matt Doherty. I was kind of missing in action yesterday for a lot of the time, so I missed out on a lot of this. When I left the house about 2 o'clock yesterday, Matt Doherty was going on loan to Atletico Madrid, which was fine, grant. He wasn't going to get much game time for the rest of the season anyway, not with Pedro Porro arriving. And then when I got back into things at 10 o'clock last night, he'd gone full-time, a permanent transfer, albeit for 6 months, to Atletico Madrid. And it seems that some genius in the club obviously can't count or didn't know the rules, but it seems that you're only allowed to lend 8 players out to clubs of other associations, foreign associations. And we had our 8-player quota already filled. So it was either a case of not being able to let Matt Doherty go, bringing one of the other ones back, or, as what happened, and I'm sure it was a very quick negotiation, mutually cancelled his contract. Now, I don't know whether Matt Doherty has been paid off his contract or he agreed just to walk away with no payment in return for getting a new club immediately. I think that will come out in the next few days, but it strikes me as being very amateurish by Tottenham. You know, not to have known the rules about loans. And the fact now that we've let a player go who's still worth a good few million. I don't know what we paid for him. I've forgotten that, but I'm sure we could have got 4 or 5 million from him if we'd sold him. He's now walked away for nothing. and maybe with a pay packet. I don't know, but it strikes me as ironic when we were harping with Sporting Lisbon over 2 or 3 million the other day, and then suddenly we cancelled the contract of a player who was worth probably far more than that, and let him go for nothing. Now, I wish the lad well. I mean, it's a great move for him, albeit he's got to really prove himself over the second half of the season, because the contract with Atletico is only for 6 months to the end of the season. So he got his work cut out there to prove himself to Simeone that he's worth a longer contract. But from an Irish point of view, I hope he does well, because we need him playing regularly to perform in the national team. You know. Pedro Porro, the long saga is finally over, and he landed last night with a rather strange video, which I had only seen once now, and the picture, and then the usual picture of him having his medical and what have you, then having the shirt on, and I don't think the fella has got much English, if any at all. So I'm hoping there's a good few Spanish speakers in the squad now that can tell him what's going on, you know. But I watched some of his highlights videos yesterday, and I have to say, the first player he reminded me of was, okay, on the other side of the pitch, was Gareth Bale. The way he skins past players with great confidence and whatever. And if he can do that for us, I think Harry Kane and Heung-min Son and Kulusevski and all the forwards will be licking their lips with the service they're going to be getting from, especially on the right-hand side. So, I mean, starting with Man City, which I hope he starts against Man City on Sunday, I think we've got a real player here, and it's really, I'm delighted now that we've got him. A little bit underwhelming with the window, I have to say. I think we really did need another centre half. We were crying out for another centre half, and it looks like now we're going to have to wait till the summer. So the guys that are there already are going to have to really get settled down and stop making mistakes. We can't afford any more bad mistakes. We've got to keep winning games now. And one thing Porro coming in will do, it'll mean Christian Romero probably won't have to babysit the other fullback as he normally had to do with Doherty and Royale. So hopefully those two will form a good partnership down there on the right-hand side, and we'll be able to reap the rewards of it, because the way he's come in, you know, it's been quite unbelievable. There's all this talk about paying the fee that Sporting were demanding, the release fee and everything, and now it turns out that to fit in with Sporting's obligations, this transfer will not officially take place until the next financial year, which is sometime in the summer for them, and then we've only paid 5 million up front, and it'll be confirmed on the 1st of July. So after all the to and fro, we've now done Sporting a favour. I suppose they've done us a favour as well, because now we don't have to open up the checkbook. But it means that in this particular window, we've spent a measly 8 million, which is, I won't comment on it. It's ridiculous. It's not even it's barely the bar takings for a couple of matches, you know. So it's not. We should have been more proactive. I mean, you look at the likes of Arsenal buying Jorginho from Chelsea and what they've tried to do this window. And Chelsea, I mean, well, Chelsea are buying every player that seems to come on the market. I don't know where they're going to put all their players. I read some of this morning. There are 35 players in their squad now. And how they're going to organise all that and keep players happy without them moaning and groaning about lack of game time. They'll probably send out a load of them on loan again come the summer, but they're going to have 6 months of discontent there to head those players in and also put up with the discontented ones that aren't. We've got a visitor. We have the great Dermatron. How you, Dermot?
How are you doing, Philip, guys? Sorry, I didn't mean, I thought I'd be in the background. I didn't think it would bring me straight on, so I'm sorry.
Oh, well, not listening to see you there. I'm delighted to see you. How are you keeping this morning?
Tired, but you know, just bits about Antonio's news this morning. I hope he gets.
Yeah, I was just going to come to that now. Actually, I was going to mention that Antonio has having his gallbladder removed this morning. He's had cholecystitis apparently, severe abdominal pain, and he's having surgery this morning. Now, I have some limited experience of gallbladder removal, but I don't think he'll be out for too long. I think he should be back fairly quickly with that, you know. So hopefully, and we'll send our best wishes. I've been reading the comments on the Spurs website about most of them are positive, you know, get back soon. A lot of them are, that's what comes with working with Daniel Levy. I suppose that we're bound to get a couple of them, you know. And but no, he's in good hands, hopefully. And I don't know whether Sunday might be too soon for him to be back, but hopefully he's not much longer away from us than that, you know.
No.
I was just talking about Porro there, Dermot. I watched the video of his highlights yesterday. We've got some player there.
Oh, I'm over the moon. I think the transfer has been a saga. It's been one hell of a saga. But look, it's a great buy for us. We've got a first choice, which is important, and also to get Doherty out the door with his contract terminated as well.
Yeah.
It's,
What do
it's
you make of
another
that? Do you think we paid him off, or have we just done a deal with him to cancel the contract? And he walks away with nothing and gets a new club straight away.
I think we've paid them off. We've had to give him something for the contract.
Yeah, I'm sure he hasn't
but
got the full value of it, though. I'm sure they haven't done that because we're facilitating him as much as he's facilitating
yeah,
us.
you know, for me, I think it's a good move for him. It gets him to a different league, probably a slower league where he probably will be able to play better, and that's good for us for the national
Yes.
side.
It's good for us. I was saying that it'll be good for the Irish team if he gets regular football.
Yeah, it is. And to be honest with you, Philip, he hasn't really, in the last 18 months he's been with us, he's never really settled into the side. I don't think he's been that good of a buy for us. I think getting Porro in for me now is a great business, brilliant bit of business. I'm so excited. And his crossing, Philip, is unreal.
Oh, it's incredible, isn't it? And the guy can take free kicks as well. I'm watching a few of his goals for Sporting there from free kicks. And if that can get Harry Kane off the free kick duty, that'll be even better, you know?
Yeah, I think we'll pay anybody to take Harry Kane off the free kick duties, to be fair.
No offense to Harry now, but
no offense at all.
Yeah.
Quick question to you, Philip. What would you? I know rank your windows wrong, but how do you feel we've had this window? Has it been a good window? Do you think?
It's been a reasonable window, you know, reasonable. I think if you compare, like, go back to this time last year, we were kind of a lot of the fans were complaining, all we've got is 2 rejects from Juventus. Well, those 2 rejects from Juventus revolutionized, rejuvenated the squad for the rest of the season. Look where that got us. So I'm hoping that Porro will do the same, and to a lesser extent, Danjuma, because I think that he'll be a great option, impact sub to come off the bench, or even if his form dictates it, maybe get a first team squad start. You know, you just don't know what's going to happen. So I'm reasonably happy. I would have loved the centre half, as we all would have, but that's not going to happen. But it has to happen in the summer. We cannot go another transfer window without sorting that problem out.
No, I mean, I said that last night in a chat on Dave's show last night, that look, we can do everything in one window. It's going to be impossible, and I think this summer you'll see a lot more going out and then a lot more coming in. I think we will go after 2 centre backs in the summer. I can see Sanchez going, I can see Dyer going, but it all stems down to, Philip, if Conte will sign a new contract and stay.
Yeah,
that's where it all stems down. Or are we getting these players because we know Poch is coming in? So as fans, we need to know what's going on at the club and what vision they're going to have, because we need to know. It's important.
My worry about this illness that Conte has now, right? I have a feeling this, if he wants to, I'm not saying he wants to, he could use this as an excuse, to get back to the family in Italy. You know, so I was hopefully he was going to stay, but I'm beginning to waver a little bit on that optimism. I think it's possible that he may be on the way out. Now we'll know fairly soon. I would say come February, March, someone's going to have to make a move and say what's happening here. Because we can't have a lame duck manager. You know, we've got to know what's happening. And, you know, we've a lot of important games. We have a lot of making up to do here now. We have an FA Cup to win. And, the way I'm looking at it, if Newcastle can get to a final like they've done it, we can do it as well, you know. So,
it's true. Do you want to go through some of these comments here we've got building up here, Philip?
Yeah, I was actually had the wrong screen on here. Okay, we'll just say now, Philo123 is saying Doherty has gone on a free, Philip, not on loan. He's been released. Yeah, we know he's gone on we know that he's gone on a free. But our question is, they've cancelled his contract. Have they paid up his contract, or have they just told him to listen? We'll let you go as long as you don't look for any money off us. That's the question that we need to get answered. You know, because it's something like if they're as I said earlier, if they were harping about paying Sporting 2 or 3 million extra for Pedro Porro, have they gone and lashed out the same amount of money to Matt Doherty to get rid of him? You know, so that's the question that needs to be answered there. I think, you know.
I think so. Look, I think it's a good bit of business for both parties, to be fair.
Oh, it is, I think. Yeah, I mean, let's face it. Matt Doherty would have been bench warming for the rest of the season, if that. He might not even go onto the bench, so he'd only be stagnating. So at least it's good for both parties, really. It's just that I'd be interested to find out the technicalities of it. You know, actually what happened. Peter M saying big up Dermot. I think everyone's wishing you well.
Yeah, big up. I tell you one thing, Philip, it's so boring in here. I tell you one thing, it's mind-bogglingly boring. I'm actually now to the point now. I'm coming up with show ideas for the show when I'm back. We have got some hot things coming up.
That'll keep you busy, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, at least Dermot, you've got good company now. You're in hospital at the same time as Antonio Conte.
Yeah, that's true. That can be true. But yeah, no. Let's get back to these comments. It's back to fans. Back to people.
Yes, best wishes to Conte. No wonder he's been so down. Very unpleasant condition. Yeah, it is. I know my wife had her gallbladder taken out a few years ago now, so that's what I have, the knowledge I have of. But that was fairly quick. She was back in action, fairly sharpish. And Peter M again. Doherty must have had some payoff as he's been terminated with any fault on his part. Yeah, that again. We hopefully we'll hear about that fairly soon. The likes of Alistair Gold, I'm sure. And Fabrizio will be coming up with theories on what happened there. You know, I like the bit he's been terminated. He sounds like he's been taken out by a sniper. Yeah,
it's like he's been taken out one of the Daleks out of Doctor Who. Terminate.
Here's Atava on Wembley. Morning, boys. The issue with Doherty's departure is actually more connected to the club's utter incompetence and ignorance of the number of loans we have away from TFC. Yeah, I've commented on that earlier. Somebody in that club can't count. I mean, you're allowed 8 loans to other jurisdictions, and we have our 8. The 8 we can't get rid of. It's like a shop sale. We can't get rid of them. And Doherty would have made 9, so that they had to panic and do something quickly, and this is what they've done. So, you know, it's but it just shows you, what the hell is going on in the administration side of this club.
I don't know. I mean, I thought Paratici is supposed to be good with numbers. Well, that's what I thought in Italy. He's supposed to be great with numbers. So, don't know how he mocked this one up.
I think the number that's worrying Paratici now is the number of months he's been suspended for.
I think so.
I don't think he's been involved in any of this, to be honest with you. None of this has got his fingerprints on it. It looks like it's been somebody else has taken it over, and whoever did it will not be getting the job again because they made bags of it. As far as I can see.
They have made a complete balls of it.
DJ Samuels, new member on the channel. Good man, DJ. In my opinion, we should have gotten the centre back.
Yeah,
spot on. Can't disagree with that. We should have. We didn't. We don't. But this was flagged even early in the window by Conte when he said he was happy enough with the centre backs he had. That was sending out a dog whistle to us that there was nothing going to happen on the centre back front, and it hasn't, unfortunately. And it'll have to happen in July. We cannot go another close season without getting 2 new centre backs in. And let's have it, John Wembley again. I think we may have seen the last of Antonio Conte. I think a deal has been done between Antonio and the club to quietly sever connections before the end of the season. Yeah, well, that's just something we've mentioned there, that he may use illness as a kind of not an excuse, but there's a reason for going back. Let's just say I'm not as confident of him staying now as I was up to a couple of days ago. And I fear, I mean, the oldest thing about Poch coming back. I mean, I love Poch to death, and I want him back at the club. But how can he come back with the likes of Dyer and Davis still and Sanchez still at the club, who were there when he left? You know, when he comes back, there's going to have to be a clean sweep of players. Now, okay, I'll leave Harry Kane and Son out of that equation. They were there as well, but the other guys that I mentioned, and plus Hugo Lloris, need to be gone before Poch comes back. He will be back, but I just don't think this is the right time.
No, I agree with you, Philip. Look, everyone would love to see Poch back, but it's got to be clear out players. Dyer, Sanchez, Doherty's gone. They could do this. What they've done with Doherty, they could do the same with the rest of them.
Yeah,
just pay off the contracts and say, look, go and find the club for yourself. There's plenty of clubs that want them.
Yeah,
if we're going to have to lose money on them, we're going to have to lose money on them.
Yeah, the thing about cancelling a contract, it has to be mutually agreeable. You know, the two sides have to agree on it, and if one side doesn't agree, nothing you can do about it. You know,
no, well,
unless there's been a reason to contact, like say, criminal record or get caught, like Partey got caught. You know, that type of thing. That gives you a reason to cancel the contract. But you know, I think why should they cut the cushy number? Some of these guys here. Why would they jeopardize that? So Doherty has done a brave thing what he's done, because as I was saying earlier, he only has a 6-month contract with Atletico, so he's not there forever, you know. So see, there's another one here from Peter M again. Maybe Doherty's treatment is indicative of how we will deal with the deadwood that can't be sold. Maybe it's a trial run to see how we get away with it. Because when you look at the players that we have out on loan at the moment, you know, in Ndombele, Lo Celso, Winks, Who else have we got? Joe Roden. There's 8 of them anyway that are lent out to foreign clubs. So it's interesting to see how that's going to happen now. It's going to be an interesting few weeks ahead. I can see that coming.
Yeah.
You know? And what about the rumours that, this is Peter M again, what about the rumours that Poch has been lined up for Real Madrid? Ancelotti's doing a great job there. I can't really understand why that is, you know. I don't know. That's a new one. I haven't heard that rumour, but surprisingly, it surprised me. But isn't there something about, did Poch play for Barcelona?
No, he played. No,
he played for Espanyol, and he'd never go to Barcelona. Yeah, I knew there was something he couldn't do in Spain.
Yeah.
So Real Madrid, yeah, well, let's face it, if he goes there, well, good luck to him. Think about it. I'd like to see Poch go to Real Madrid now and come to us in 2 years' time.
Yeah.
Well, Real Madrid invariably sack him, as they do with most of their managers, you know. So, yeah, maybe.
Going back to this Conte thing, Philip, I think I agree with you. I think if he wants a way out, this could be his way out. I've been thinking about what you said, and if they know Poch is going to Real Madrid and Levy wants to get Poch in, I could see this moving very quickly. If Conte is going, we could have. Do you know what I mean? This could actually go very quickly in one way.
I just had this thing about the existing players that were there, still the old brigade that's still there, causing a problem. But on the other hand, let's face it, apart from the Bill Nicholson and the Keith Birkinshaw eras, we played the best football I've ever seen Spurs play under Poch.
Oh, we did.
And I would love to see that style of football coming back. When we have 75% possession, not 25.
We played the Tottenham way, didn't we, Philip? We played the way that we're supposed to play football.
I mean, I look back on the 16-17 season, the last season at White Hart Lane, and 17 wins out of 19 in the league and 2 draws. That's the Tottenham way. That's the what I want to see back. And we blew teams away that year. We've absolutely obliterated them. You know, so this is what I want to see. It's just a nagging thing in the back of my mind that, okay, maybe Poch will come back, right? If he does come back, and he does what Peter said there about, is this going to be the catalyst to what's happened to Doherty? Are they going to do the same with Dyer? Are they just going to say, listen, Eric, we'll keep you till June or July or whatever it is then, but then we're either cancelling your contract or you ask for a transfer or you go, and get rid of them that way, you know. But let me just see. Well, let's just see what happens. But again, I want Poch back, but I'm just Anyway.
It's a hard one because we've got Conte, who's a world-class manager who's won things everywhere, and you get Poch back, who's never really won anything. He's won with PSG. Well, PSG is the only team in that French league. So I don't know. I'd rather Conte, but if he was to go and use this as an excuse, if I was to pick any manager, I would say either Thomas Frank or Poch. Out of them two, that's the two I'll go for.
Yeah. The only thing, if Poch did come back, right, and we had bought a centre half, and like we should have had in the summer there on the January window, he could come back and he could effectively sideline all the guys that caused him the problem years ago.
Yeah.
So that mightn't be a problem then. The problem will be internal, keeping them happy, but keeping them on the bench and not showing them in the first team anymore. It'd be quite easy to do that, providing we bought in replacements, which we haven't. So, a bit of a conundrum, really.
It is.
Wembley wants it again. Looking ahead, guys, the only hope I can see is this supposed investment from QSI can somehow be secured by the summer, and this will allow us to buy players. Enoch clearly have no interest in this. Well, I mean, the fact that we only spent £8 million in January, like Chelsea, I'd say, spent that on phone calls to get buying the players. So it's a good point there. But again, I've this nagging doubt that a Qatari investment company getting involved with a club like Tottenham, who have such strong Jewish connections, there's a lot of hurdles to be overcome there. Really. Well, I'm sure the fans wouldn't mind it too much. I just don't know whether Daniel Levy would be open to dealing with people who are of a completely opposite viewpoint than him. So we'll see. Like, I know I was fiercely against the Saudi Arabian guys taking over in Newcastle, and I would have problems with Qataris. Like, nothing against Middle East people in general, but the Qatari record in human rights at the World Cup there would stick in my throat a wee bit. If somebody from somewhere else at that country, Bahrain or something, came along, who might be just as bad in the long run, but that'll be more acceptable to me than the Qatari takeover.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you there, Philip, on that. It's very, and I apologise if anyone can hear noise in the background. I do apologise. Um, Look, I do agree with you on that, Philip. I'd be a hypocrite if I said I'd be happy because I was against the World Cup, and I wouldn't be happy if we did get investment. But saying that, if the investment was put into the team and then contacted by the right players, then I still wouldn't be happy, but I'd be happy the money's going into the right place. I don't want the money going into another concert or another building or something like that. It's got to be put for the first team. But I rather like the man Ratcliffe. I wish he would come in and buy us because he's he's English. He hasn't got all these connections with that side of the human rights thing, and I think that would be the best thing. He would put money into the team for the team. Where I feel if these investors come in, Philip, they put money into the club, which won't go to the right place in the club. If you know what I'm getting at.
I know what you get at, but I think that guy Ratcliffe, I think he's more interested in Manchester United at the moment.
Yeah,
and so that's the way. But then again, if that doesn't pan out, maybe he'll try us as a second alternative. Sure, we'll see. Time will tell. But as you said, Wembley once says there, the summer. It's going to be a very interesting few months.
Yeah, will be
coming up. And again, this is Pot said he would never manage Barcelona because of his Spanish connections. Yeah, that's the one. I knew there was something about he wouldn't manage one of the teams. And the next one is the Pot story is in the Sun, so not sure how far to believe it. This is Peter M. All I'll say is Freddie Starr ate my hamster. That's about the most famous quote the Sun ever put on a headline. So reading the Sun, I know today's Wednesday, but if I saw on the Sun, I'd check the date. I wouldn't believe anything that comes out of that paper. And ask the Liverpool fans what they think of the Sun,
Yeah, that's true. I mean, they're not a great newspaper anyway. I know a few budgets on after they said about what happened with Hillsborough and that. Philip, I mean, that for me was the worst bit of journalism I've ever saw, and I was a kid at the time, a young teenager.
Just to get rid of page 3, anyway. So.
Mind you, that is so true.
The circulation dropped massively.
It did. Anyway, that was the Daily Sport.
It's like, I don't know if you ever remember that old TV show in the 70s, Porridge with Ronnie Barker.
Yeah.
Brilliant TV. It's on UK Gold all the time, where he says, can I get you something? He says, yeah, but you get me a copy of The Sun. He says, and get me something to read as well. Oh, dear. Anyway. Peter around just what about Robert De Zebra? Yeah, he's done a great job at Brighton. For a guy no one had ever heard of before, Brighton are playing some absolutely wonderful football at the moment. They're the most watchable team in the Premiership at this moment in time. The fact they beat Liverpool twice in 3 weeks makes it go up in my estimations a lot. But what a goal that with the young lad, the Japanese fella, got for the winner against Liverpool on Saturday in the cup.
I'll tell you one thing, Philip. I saw that goal. That was a great bit of skill. Honest to God, it was brilliant. Absolute. I had to watch it 3 times. How he took that ball. I tell you, if Maradona or Messi or Ronaldo did that, that'd be talked about around the world. That would be absolutely. Like, look at that. And he's an unknown, but that fella is a genius. He really is. He's got a great future ahead of him.
He has. He got pace to burn as well. He gave Alexander Arnold probably the worst 2 games of his life. Skinned him, So it's really good, really good. And the manager has done great, and he's only with them since Harry Potter left to go to Chelsea. So it's a very short time. Well, it just shows you what can be done with a well-run club whose owners are in tune with the management and giving him what he wants. And here's the next one, Starsgate. Why are the naming rights in the stadium being dragged out? Oh God, yeah. They're supposed to have employed some guy to organise the naming rights, but again, I'm going to go back to an old TV ad of the 70s or the 80s. It was the Carlsberg Complaints Office, and it was just a telephone covered in dust and chairs that hadn't been used for ages. I think that's the office of the Spurs naming rights, because there's just been nothing happening, nothing doing. And until we get that naming rights done, I don't think Levy's going to sell up, to be honest. You know, we've no answers to that one, Starsky. You really haven't. You know.
I think the fella who's got that job, Philip, must have the cushiest job going. He doesn't have to report to anyone. He just sits there. I don't think he even goes into his office. I think he's still in America in his swimming pool somewhere. Rings Levy once a month. Yeah, we're very close to getting a deal now, Mr. Levy. Very, very close. Just a few more weeks.
He's working remotely from a beach in the Seychelles or somewhere.
Yeah. I do not know.
I feel queasy about Qatari investors. Yeah, well, we've been through that. I think we all would be a little bit concerned if that happened, you know. But again, time will tell, and we'll see. I have no doubt this is the hypocrisy of football. If Qatari owners come in and put millions into the club, and we buy what we want, and we win a trophy or two, it'll be conveniently forgotten about. Really,
yeah.
We might say we don't approve of it, but we're not going to turn our backs on it either, you know.
No, that's true, Philip. That is so true.
Wembley won again, Starsky, almost certainly because Levy wants a ludicrous and unrealistic amount of money for them. Yeah, that's probably it. That's probably it. You know? But then again, to get a big payoff on the naming rights, you've got to have a successful club.
Yeah.
Club is winning things. So you think that by investing on one side of it to get those trophies, he'd benefit on the second side with the naming rights, but that doesn't seem to be the case, you know.
No, I mean, if to be fair, I think whoever gets the naming rights should call it the Bill Nicholson Stadium. That's what it should be called.
Yeah, that's it.
And I'll start a petition up for that. I really would, because it should be named after our greatest ever manager, the Bill Nicholson Stadium. And I think that, for me, would be a fitting tribute to our greatest manager ever.
But when you look at the way Bill Nicholson was treated by the club,
yeah, that's true.
You know, it's not. I know it's a different regime now, but like for anyone that needs a history lesson on this, Bill Nicholson, after the 1974 UEFA Cup final against Feyenoord in Rotterdam, the Spurs fans didn't exactly cover themselves in glory. I think that more or less sickened them. You know, that he just didn't want to continue anymore, and then he blotted his copybook by ringing Danny Blanchflower and telling him he wanted him to take over from him. And the club got wind of this, and they appointed Terry Neal instead, and the rest is history. And Bill Nicholson was sent off with a flea in his ear after 16 years of managing the most successful period we ever had, you know. So we think Daniel Levy was bad. That was equivalently very, very bad, what happened to Bill Nicholson, you know.
Yeah.
And let's see now, what else we got? DJ Samuel again, or a Spurs casino. It's probably the only thing that isn't in the ground is a casino, you know. Oh, dear. And Peter M. Matoma's goal in the FA Cup was comparable to Gaza's goal against Scotland. Yeah, very similar. Very similar. Yeah, it was a great goal. Brighton's scouting obviously is a lot better than ours. They can pick up little gems like that for next to nothing, you know. I don't know where our scouts are. I really don't.
They're probably on the same beach as the man that's doing the name right.
Probably. And Wilton McDonald, hi Wilton, how are you? Spare a thought for the Everton supporters. They are in deep, yeah. Well, true. There's always somebody worse off than yourselves, and I really feel sorry for Everton. They like Anthony, what you call him, the young lad, Anthony Gordon, more or less went on strike to get out of the club. They got 40 million from him, but didn't buy anybody else in. And I think Everton are going to go down this season unless Sean Dyche can work his miracle. You know, he's a good manager, Sean Dyche. But anybody at Everton expecting pretty football now for the rest of the season can forget about it. It's going to be in the trenches stuff, you know, to get out of the trouble that they're in, you know.
I mean, me can well remember Everton being the top club and winning leagues and championships and cups and European Cup Winners' Cup, and how the mighty have fallen.
Yeah. And I feel sorry for them. It's bad enough living in the shadow of Liverpool all the time, but to have such incompetence at the top. Like Spurs are a model club compared to the way Everton are run. Yeah, and that shows you how bad Everton are.
Yeah, they are. I feel sorry for Everton. I really do. But I tell you another thing as well, Philip. I'm so pleased for Newcastle because they deserve this. I know we're all against the takeover, but by Jesus, that's showing us how it's done.
I'm pleased for the fans. I'm pleased for the Newcastle fans.
Yeah.
I watched a bit of the match last night, and Newcastle have a nasty streak in them now. Like that Bruno Guimaraes fellow, whatever you call him, put in the shocking tackle. And he started remnants. The whole team gathered around the referee when he booked him for the tackle. And then when the referee went over to the VAR monitor and sent him off, he refused to go. He was walking around. He was arguing with the referee for a couple of minutes after it. So I think Newcastle will be fine for not controlling their players, but they've got a nasty streak about them, and I'd be worried about them in the future. As competitors for top four.
I can see them winning the League Cup myself.
Yeah, I think Man United might just have too much for them, but we'll see. We'll see. And Derek Hutchinson again is saying, is this the shopping list? Yeah. Dyer, Sanchez, Davis, Sessegnon, Lloris, Skip, Winks, Lo Celso, and Ndombele all need shipping out. Well, I mean, we've got how many of those are on loan? Winks, Lo Celso, and Ndombele. Those three at the end. They need to be shifted, but we've got them. What's going to happen there is, unless Ndombele works his socks off with Napoli, all those three players are going to come back to us in the summer. And what's going to happen? Do we have a fire sale? Sell them off for a quarter of what they're worth just to get rid of them? It's poor management. It's poor control of your players, and at least Harry Winks is now getting an odd bit of a game for Sampdoria. I think he played there at the weekend. Which is
it's the the player, Mr. Burger King. Is his loan to buy? Is it if Napoli win the league? I
don't know, now, to be honest.
There's something in the loan deal, an obligation to buy that. Napoli get a cert. I think the Champions League football, then they can buy Napoli for, I think, Mr. Burger King or something. But I want them all gone, Philip.
Absolutely, they're a drain on our resources, and they're doing our heads in as well when they're still on the books.
I would love to know how many points we've lost with them on the pitch this season. If we added them points into our total now, we're in the middle of a title race.
Yeah. When you're talking about Dyer, Sanchez, and Davis, and Cess and Lloris there, I presume. Yeah.
And we may have got Pero, but we've still got Emerson, we've still got Dyer, we've still got Sanchez, we've still got Davis. That's four players there, Philip, that need to go. The Celso, what a waste of money. Cancel his contract. Harry Winks, cancel his contract. Get rid of them.
Yeah.
Absolutely get rid of them all.
But as I say, the contract can only be cancelled mutually, so it depends. They'll have to agree to it.
Money talks, Philip. You often money talks.
Levy doesn't like parting with money, so this to cancel those contracts could cost 10 or 15 million.
I think if Levy's wife's asking for shopping money, I think she'll have to put it in installments
over 99 years.
Yeah.
Peter M is saying that scouts are in the pub. I think, I think so.
I think they are. Yeah, they're drinking with the same fellow with the naming rights on and Paratici. How do I get out of this one? That's what they're all doing.
And Peter M again. Derek Hutchinson's a totally correct list. Although I keep Skip on the bench. Yeah, I'll let Skip. Skip probably is a good sub to have. Not a starter, but a good sub. And this will go back to our Poch talk. That Ancelotti says he's going to retire at the end of the season. Yep. But if that's the case, then, and if they want to bring Poch in, then it's going to happen between now and July. That's it. Or else they're going to wait 2 years until Real sack him.
Yeah.
So, it's either now or 2025 that Poch comes back.
I want to say big up to Nick. I've never seen I don't think we've seen him before in the chat. So big up, Nick. And also Joe as well. Big up, Joe. Welcome to the channel. Please hit that like button, subscription button, and get your memberships, because today we are going to start our competition. And
I have the games about ready to go up now. Today,
we'll discuss that at the end of the stream. But please hit the like button, hit the subscription button, and welcome to the channel. And I hope you enjoy yourselves.
Absolutely. And Peter M says Newcastle show what can be done with a few smart purchases and a good coach. It's not rocket science to be a successful football team. Yeah. Can't argue with that. The Newcastle boss is shrewd operator. He's a good lad, and they bought well. And the fact that they've got that money behind them now, there's a lot of frustration down the years to be worked out of the Newcastle fans. So they were really giving it socks last night when they beat Southampton.
Yeah,
you can see the joy what it meant to them to get to a final. And I'd hate to be trying to get a ticket now from the Newcastle end, because I say they'll put me about, they'll be looking for far more tickets than they're allowed.
Oh, there will be. There will be. The world supported Newcastle everywhere they go.
Big supporters, they really are. Council contract means paying up wages. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. In the normal terms, it does. But in the Doherty situation, there may have had to be a bit of a compromise made. We don't know really what happened there, because it all happened so quickly. And I'm going back to the usual thing. Can you see Levy parting with money he doesn't have to part with? So I'd say there's a bit of negotiation going on there, but hopefully the likes of Alistair Golden and the likes will come out with what actually really happened there in the next few days or so, because it is interesting, very interesting. A good comment there, Joe. And to follow up on that, when he says worst case, keep them out on loan or sell them for a low price, but depends on buying club paying the wages they want. Well, that's it. Yeah. And this is where the agents come in. The agents will be negotiating, because obviously the higher their salary, the higher their cut. And but keep them out on loan. Like, it's okay. The loan finishes in summer, I think, for most of them. Will the clubs that they're at the minute want to keep them? That's another thing. They can just send them back and say, hey, we don't want these guys. You can have them.
And
the wages.
Yeah, I mean, that's the problem, Philip, with loans. I mean, Lo Celso will definitely come back. Harry Winks will definitely come back. Hopefully, Napoli will buy Mr. Burger King. We'll have to take a loss there. But that's the problem with loan disbill. They can send them back, and that's the worrying thing. Nobody wants to buy them. Why? Because they're shite. That's why. So
that's it. Oh, absolutely. There's no doubting that, And then Joe, again, I think he's summing up what a lot of us are thinking at the minute. We're sick of how we do business. We seem to do everything the long way around. There's no straightforward transfer dealings with Tottenham. It's nodding a wink and trying to save a few bob here and there and waiting until the last minute and stuff. It's not good, it's not good. And again, no vision or plan and no comes. Won't change till the owners do it. Yeah, well, that's it. That's the thing, Either the owners change or somebody comes in with a significant 30% investment that will have a say in what happens. And we'll have to wait and see what happens there,
Yeah.
Peter M says, I'd say Newcastle haven't spent madly, just smartly. Yeah, they have. That Bruno Guimaraes guy is a good player. I wouldn't mind seeing him at Tottenham. And they bought Dan Burn from Brighton, who would have been a good centre back, And they have bought fairly well.
Yeah, and Newcastle have spent very wisely for the money they have. They've spent very wisely, and look, they're doing it. They're showing us how to do business and what the right way to do business. And Newcastle will overtake us, and we have to match that. If we don't match that, we're going to be overtaken by a few clubs very, very quickly. And this is where it sticks to my teeth with the owners that they don't. The 7 million was spent this window. That's a relegation side will spend that money, or a championship side will spend that money. We're supposed to be a top Premier League side, the 6th, 10th, or I think it's the 8th richest club in the world, and we spend £7 million, €7 million. That is fucking disgusting. We're supposed to be going for the best players. We can well afford it. We can spend anything up to 400 million under the FFP, and we don't. And why? Because all the money is gone into that we get from everything else, gone into everything else by the football side, and that's the frustrating part of Tottenham at the moment. If we bought 2 or 3 players in that window, Philip, centre back, a right wing back, a cam, and 2 centre backs, a cam, and a right wing back, we will go forward. Now, I'm hoping that the 2 players we brought in will have the same respect as last season. I think it will. For me, it's been an okay window, but we need to do more because it's getting very, very frustrating.
Yeah. I would like to know what's going on inside the head of a certain Mr. Harry Kane this morning.
Yeah.
What does Harry Kane think of it all? Because that's going to be crucial to our future prosperity, whether Harry stays or goes. And if I was Harry now, I don't know. I just know I wouldn't like to see what. Well, proof of the pudding is going to be what the reaction for Spurs is on Sunday against Manchester City. Now, if Porro plays, I suspect we might do okay. I think we owe them one. Let's face it. If Conte had changed things at half time in the game a couple of weeks ago, we probably would have got something out of that game. Well, unfortunately, he didn't, and we didn't. So it's just going to be interesting to see how he hit the ground running on Sunday against Man City. It's just a pity we have to play them so quickly, but Man City aren't tearing up trees either. So I mean, they're beatable. Anyway, this is a good point here. Ali G needs to start asking questions. Yeah. That Ali G now interviewing Levy, I'd love to see that. That would be very good. In fact, if he did his Borat character, it'd be even better. Just call them out properly. Yeah. Well, the thing is, calling out players but not doing it, you can't, because the agents it's the agents are the ruination of this thing at the minute, if you ask me. Like, agents don't care where their clients go; they will go where they get the best deal, which I suppose is fair enough. But if you call out your players, you'll probably get the agents getting together and say, right, we're going to boycott Tottenham. We're not going to sell it. We're not going to use any of their players. We're not going to sell players to them. And they're an unnecessary evil, if you ask me, in the game. And they force up transfer fees as well because their commission has to be included, which is often ridiculously high. And Peter M again, if Spurs was a feel-good movie, Winks and Co would return and win us the title next season. But Spurs is not a story written by Richard Curtis, sadly. No. I'm trying to think of a movie that would sum up Spurs in one sentence. And it's probably Independence Day or somewhere where we get slaughtered by the aliens or something like that. It's just, I don't know, or the Poseidon Adventure, everything just sinks around them. Actually, that's a good one there. If anyone could just put in the title of a movie that you think sums up the Spurs situation at the minute, we have a laugh over that. Derek Hutchinson is saying, Winks to Leighton Orient free transfer. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't really care where Harry Winks goes, as long as he's not back to us. What do you reckon, Dermot? What's Harry Winks' level? Oops, Dermot's gone for a minute, so I'll just carry on here. And Steve Riformato, good man, Steve. I don't think I've seen that name before, so welcome to the chat. Imagine how hard it would be to buy Tottenham. It's hard enough negotiating for players. Yeah, that's it. This is it. The naming rights, everything is just difficult, very difficult. Good comment, that. And I mean, I think we're all feeling the frustration of dealing with Mr. Levy. And Ali Gold. Yeah, Ali Gold. Yeah, that'd be a good one. And Joe again, actually, all journalists that cover Spurs need to ask real questions, not just to pass on what they hear all the time. Well, that's the thing, you know. It's very hard to know what to believe, which journalists are in the club's pocket and passing on the good stuff and keeping the bad stuff from us. Alistair Gold, time enough for him at all. I think he is a bit too close to the club, maybe. Fabrizio Romano is good. And there's a few others, but a lot of them, I don't know, they seem to just pass on stuff they hear, and it keeps getting retweeted, and people then start believing it, and it's rubbish, a lot of it. And Joe again, to keep the club sweet and vice versa. Yeah, that's it. Now, Wembley won. Steve, exactly. Can you imagine what an absolute nightmare it would be negotiating with Levy and actually trying to buy the club? Enough alone to make it not worth the effort. Well, that's it. A lot of people will be scared off because they know they're going to end up in hospital with depression or something after dealing with Levy. And this is Daniela Zito. That's another name I haven't seen. Welcome to the chat. Hope Conte gets back soon. Yeah, for anyone that mightn't have heard it, Antonio Conte has had severe abdominal pains over the last few days and is suffering from cholecystitis and is having his gallbladder removed today. So he'll be out for a while. We don't know how long. It shouldn't be too long, but whatever recuperation he has, take your time and get well soon, and don't make any decisions over leaving just yet. And again, Orient, yeah, Leighton Orient. I think that's Harry Winks again. Oh no, the film Fast and Furious. That wouldn't describe our transfer dealings, that's for sure. You know, I think there'd be anything but Fast and Furious. Nightmare on Elm Street. Yeah, that's true. Nightmare on Tottenham High Road. You could rename it. And Peter M says Spurs are like Withnail and I, a constant weight. Yeah, well, that's true. Yeah. Good point. Peter M and the tragic comedy. Yes, indeed. Yeah, it's so funny. It's tragic. The Matrix. Yeah, I'm not into sci-fi movies, so I don't really know much about that one. But yeah, I take your point. Well, you'll see now, we've gone on longer than we actually planned for today, but it's great to see so many people in listening to the chat. And so just to sum up, really, before we finish off, Matt Doherty has gone to Atletico Madrid on a 6-month contract. His contract was cancelled by mutual agreement with Tottenham. What that actually meant in monetary terms, we don't know. Hopefully we'll find out soon. Pedro Porro arrived finally about 10 to 11 last night. I don't know why they kept it so long. I mean, maybe they were waiting for the video to be put out, but was it to keep us hoping there might be somebody else coming along as well, which there wasn't. But Porro looks to be an absolute baller and a great addition to the squad. So, we're hoping big things from him. I don't know if anybody hasn't seen it yet. Look at his highlights video on YouTube for Sporting Lisbon. Absolutely brilliant. And to me, he's like a right-wing version of Gareth Bale. He skins his opponent. He's got a good crosser of the ball, and he's got a hell of a shot on him as well. So, that's the thing. Another bit of loan news. Harvey White has gone out on loan to Derby County for the rest of the season. I don't think there's an option to buy there. He'll be back to us in the summer. And as I said, Antonio Conte, wish you well, boy. And I hope to God that your time in hospital lets you think about things and that you decide to stay with Tom. But again, we don't know if that's the case or not. And that's down to you, Daniel Levy. Now, just the last couple of comments here. It says, Daniel's either the Spurs depression. Well, I think we've been in that for a while, actually. Being a Spurs fan is difficult at the best of times. And hopefully the brighter days ahead for us.
I've just thought of a good name for our club: the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Absolutely. So the good would be Harry Kane, the bad would be Eric Dyer, and the ugly would be Daniel Levy. Am I right?
Yeah.
That's it. And just to finish off here, Martin Eustace, big up Phil and Queen Ellie, and don't forget the King Dermot there as well in the background there. Dermot, if you haven't heard, Dermot's in hospital at the moment. That's why his picture's not coming up. And it's great to have him on the chat.
I can give you an update what's happening. I'm due to have my angiogram done on Monday. To check they've done the echo. The echo came back okay. That's the normal workings of the heart. That's ready. But they're going to check the angiogram, do an angiogram to check my arteries, and then if I need stents, they'll have stents put in. So that's the latest news, and then hopefully I'm out next week, and then I'm back properly doing it by the end of next week. So that's the plan. So I'm looking forward to coming back. I miss talking to Spurs fans. I miss talking with you about Tottenham. I miss working with Philip and Ellie and Mia. And so I'm really bored in here. So I saw Philip this morning. I knew Philip wouldn't mind me jumping on. It just passed the hours. But
oh yeah, anytime. God Almighty, we're delighted to have you on, Dermot. It's great you can do it from the hospital bed, And anyway, but no, it's great. Listen, get well soon. We're all rooting for you. You know that. I'll just read out the last few comments here because there's a few interesting ones here. Doherty, contract cancelled due to loan restrictions. We need more out the door to upgrade the squad. Absolutely. I mean, the fact that somebody in the administration block couldn't count up to 8 loan deals with foreign associations, that was scandalous. Really, that we had to do what we did with Doherty. And Danielle Azito again. Will the fact that Porro doesn't speak English have an impact on him starting games for now? Because I hope not, and I hope he's learning English from today. Yeah, I think there's a lot of foreign players in the Premiership don't speak English. I don't think Christian Romero speaks much English at all. So there's always going to be a translator around anyway to translate what's been said. Or if Romero speaks Spanish anyway, so he'll be able to translate for Porro. He tried saying "Come on, you Spurs" in his video last night. It didn't sound anything like "Come on, you Spurs." But I'd be more concerned that he does his talking on the pitch for now once he learns English. I think that's the important part. And Mark News says that's another new name. Good man, Mark. I hope Conte is back soon. Will he be back in time for the UCL Milan game in 2 weeks? I'd say he will. I mean, gallbladder surgery is not that. Now, with apologies to anybody who's had gallbladder surgery, but from my own family experience of it, my wife had it and she was back in action the next day. So, so it's possibly not just as severe as maybe getting a. I don't know what I'm going to compare it with, but hopefully he's back for the AC. Man, just talking about Milan. Milan have conceded 4 goals and more in consecutive games for the first time in living memory. They lost 5-2 and 4-0 in the last 2 matches. So they're not in good shape at the minute. So it might be a good time to play them, And Peter M says, all the very best, Dermot. Well, everybody mirrors that, Peter. And Wilton McDonald saying, good man, Dermot, even hospital, you are doing more for Tottenham Hotspur than the Tottenham Hotspur board and chairman. There you are. Now, that's a compliment, Dermot.
That is, I don't know how to take that, but that is a very good compliment.
Yeah, well done, Walter. That'll cheer him up. That'll keep him going.
It has that. I can tell everyone that I've got chicken and mushroom pie for lunch. That's my lunch now. And then
Chicken
roast beef.
pie.
Yeah.
Oh, very, very good.
To be honest, the food isn't very good here. I'm just whispering.
Don't say that too loud. They might be thrown at you.
Why do you think I was whispering?
And Martin Hughes says Porro needs Portuguese translator in the squad. Porro's Spanish, isn't it? Am I right in saying?
He is, yeah.
Yeah, so he's in the Portuguese team. Is that why Dyer was kept on the £1 million translator? That's his new job.
Can I just say quickly, Philip, just very quickly before you finish off, Dan Juma. He had a good start against Preston North End. I think we found a little gem here.
I think we have.
I really do.
Yeah. And I think what I liked about him was after he scored his goal, Kulichevsky could have put him through for another one, and he stood there and he bawled him out for not giving him the ball. And that's what I like to see, a bit of leadership and a bit of ambition in the team, So I think Dan Juma is going to be a good asset to that team, especially coming off the bench, because he's got good pace and he knows where the goal is, which is always a help.
He's going to become a fan favourite, I tell you that.
He is, yeah. He is. But hopefully Porro won't. If Porro has learned Portuguese, then Dyer will be able to help him there. But I think Christian Romero, being Spanish speaker, will help. And there's probably others. The club has a translator, I'm sure, on the books. They'll be able to look after things like that, And Martin New saying again, big up Dermot. Wish you better, mate. Come on, you Spurs. They are, Dermot. Everyone's passing on the love to you today.
Thank you very much. I can't wait to get back properly and doing these shows again. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, we can't wait to get you back on.
I Miss My Tottenham show will be pushed back to next week, but don't worry, there's plenty more content coming up. Philip's going to do loads. I'll be on with the watch along with him on Sunday.
Yeah. Is that what are you going to do? I'm going to be behind the couch. Where are you going to be?
Well, I could pull the curtain over myself, I think, or something along that.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. Anyway.
I'm sure we'll have a pre-match this week as well, pre-match and post-match, and there'll be plenty of shows coming up this week with Philip or Mia, or Philip or Ellie, or Ellie and Mia, the three of them, and then I'll pop in as and when I can. Once I've brought my laptop with me, I need to charge it up, and once that's up and running, I can pop on a bit more freely then. But thanks to Philip and Ellie and Mia for doing everything, running the channel, doing everything. I really appreciate a lot of you. So thank you.
No problem. It's a pleasure.
Brilliant.
So just read these last few comments and then we'll sign off. Peter Ems, I agree about Dan Juma. Yeah, I think we have got a good little player. Again, he's one that's come in under the radar. When all the talk is about Chelsea buying everybody in sight and whatever, it's like last year when Bentancur and Kulichevsky came in. And hit the ground running. So hopefully this guy does the same. And the goals in him, that's what we need. Some goals coming from all the various directions. And Mark again says, I love the comparison between Porro and Bale. He'll be on fire for us in the CL with Dan Juma. Come on, you Spurs. Yeah, I mean, when I'm looking at Porro's highlights, he just reminds me so much of Gareth Bale. He really does. I know he's on the wrong side of the pitch and he's right-footed, but it's the same. And the same speed, the same determination, and I mean he can score goals too, which Gareth Bale obviously did as well. So yeah, I'm really excited for this Porro guy, and I'm just hoping that being Spurs, he doesn't get injured in the first game or something,
Yeah.
And there's Philo 123 call you Spurs. Get well soon, Dermot. Big up to you. There you go, Dermot.
Philo, good man yourself.
And the last comment that we have at the minute is from Danielle Zito. It says, do you think Dan Juma should start on Sunday? I'm not sure his son has not been in good form. Yeah, if Son hadn't scored against Preston, I would have said, yeah, Dan Juma should start. But I don't think you can let Son out of the team now when he's got those 2 goals and look to be getting his mojo back. So I think Dan Juma on Sunday at least will be a substitute. And we'll come on at some stage, but like what we were calling for Son to be dropped before Preston, now that he's delivered, I don't think you can really drop him, So, but we'll see. You never know.
What, Philip? I think he will. I think he will start Sunday. I think he'll rest on, and I think Porro will start Sunday as well. I think the both.
Well, Porro has to start on Sunday. Porro has to start. He has to, yeah. And then just the last couple of comments. Philo again says, going to the game on Sunday, Porro winner against his old club. Yeah, that's the thing. That's people have forgotten that he played for Man City or was on their books for a while. I don't know if he ever really played for them. But yeah, wouldn't it be just ironic? Because you remember one of the last times we played him at home, Steven Bergwijn came on his debut and scored the winner. Or scored the good goal. So Porro will be gunning for City on Sunday, hopefully. And Peter M says, Philo, have a great time. It'd be a great time if we win. As always. Yeah. And Philo just giving the thumbs up to that. So right, folks, listen, it's been great. This 5-minute show has stretched into over an hour now, so that's the way we like it, and thanks a million to Dermot for coming on and giving me a hand here, because there's just one more comment to go and then I'm going to shut them down. Agree, but I don't want Danjuma just coming on for 10 minutes. It should be around 25 if Kulu and Son are tiring or having an off game. Yeah, that's the thing. If you're going to make substitutes, make them in time for them to make an impact on the game, not in the 87th minute. So that's a very good point. And again, the thing about it is, if Conte's not there on Sunday, he won't be making the decision. So maybe we might get the subs in a bit earlier, And Peter, the last comment says, thanks, Phil and Dermot. Really enjoyed it. Glad you enjoyed it. That's what we're here for. A bit of fun as well. We don't like to keep it too serious. It's just a little bit of light-hearted stuff as well. So
on this channel, me and Philip and Ellie and me, we're all trying to keep it light-hearted. A bit of fun and talk about Spurs. We're not getting dragged down with all what's going on outside the club. We just like to keep it on the pitch and fun and make it enjoyable for you to watch. And that's, if people say that, it means a lot to us. So thank you very much, Peter.
And again, thanks for everybody for tuning in. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel there. We're well over the 1,000 mark now. And we're trying to push up for 2,000. And you can also just to talk about our competition, which starts next Sunday. In the next hour or so, there'll be 10 matches gone up in the community section of the YouTube channel. What you need to do, if you're a member, is pick the result of the game, not the score. Just 1 point for a home win, 1.5 for a draw, and 2 for an away win. So right, that's how you get your scoring. There's additional methods of scoring. There'll be one match picked as a forecast match, you have to predict the score of that game. So if I say Tottenham Man City is a forecast game, which it obviously will be, 6-0 to Spurs, you get 2 points. And then there's another 2 points to be got if you can predict the amount of goals scored in the 10 matches. So there'll be a league table done up every week, and at the end of the season, the winner will get a Spurs jersey of their choice, and the second prize is a Tottenham football, and the third prize is a night out with Daniel Levy, and you pay. Okay, that's not really true now. The first two are right. So anyway, with that, lads, I'm going to leave you. I'll be back again tomorrow morning. Hopefully Dermot will join me as well.
Philip, very quickly, put your answers in the comment section. And what we'll do, me and Philip will then get your answers, and then we'll make a league table out of that, and then next Monday morning, we will announce the winner. We will announce the league table. So if you can get that done in the comments, then we know then, and put your name on. And think of a name you want to call your team, your team that for the competition. Doesn't have to be,
you don't give your own name. Give it Levy's Warriors or Porro's Pirates or something like that.
And then we'll do that then at the end of the season. At the end of the game, there every week we'll have a Sunday evening. We'll have an update of the table. So members only. So get your membership if you want to be involved.
Yeah, it's just a bit of crack, a bit of additional interest onto the thing, and let's see if we can get it off to a good start this Sunday. So with that, folks, listen again, thanks for tuning in, and we'll keep an eye on the board. We'll be on again soon. We'll be on tomorrow anyway, and there's a lot coming up over the weekend with a watch along and a preview to the Man City game. And as always, come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.